That video was shot with footage from clergy visits in March 2006 and again in August of 2006. I'm going to have Councilmember Cynthia Willett-Lewis to come to us now, who will tell us that nothing has changed since then. Councilmember Cynthia Willett-Lewis is a fireball of our city council, and certainly she deserves to be up front because every inch of her district was destroyed, and most of her people are scattered throughout the country. My friend and one of the great leaders of our city, Cynthia Willett-Lewis.
Thank you. This is a very moving moment for me. It's a very poignant and emotional moment for me. Because immediately after the storm, having never left the city, coming back every day, going into the lower Ninth Ward, because by the grace of God, being an elected official, I could get through the barricades of the National Guard. All was darkness, all was desolation, complete abandonment, a city with no sound, a city with no people. Broken levees and devastated houses and darkness. I come to you representing a great historic international city on her knees. And if New Orleans is on her knees, it must be for a great and sacred purpose. So I am encouraged to be in this room of men and women of faith and of intercessory power and of an ability to galvanize the moral conscience and remind this great nation of our history, that we are a nation founded on principles of faith, and that if ever there were a significant historic moment in this millennium, it is now. And so to the historic men and women in this room, to Ambassador Young and your beautiful wife, Mrs. Young, to Dr. Vivian, to the representatives of the Regional Council of Churches, to Good Works International, to all of you brothers and sisters of Christ, men and women of the gospel, I come homeless but not hopeless. Representing the interest and pleading the cause of my district, saying that your vision of community in transformation is indeed the hope of New Orleans, and that let us use the canvas of the land that was initially abandoned in a discussion of should New Orleans be rebuilt? Can New Orleans be rebuilt? Understanding the great wealth and capacity of this nation, that we respond to international disasters everywhere, but yet it took 36 hours before the Marines arrived in New Orleans, that our jets are there at the tsunami, that we respond to Hurricane Mitch in Honduras, dropping supplies and everything to help people. But in this American international city, could it only be because we have a black mayor, a black city council, black judges, and black folks who are on the other side of the industrial canal, or the other side of a canal? I came to remind each and every one of you, no matter where you come from, you represent a community that has an other side also. So what happened in the historic Lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans East and Gentilly could happen in your community. That Katrina was an act of God, but the levees were a failure of man. And so we have man-made failure combined with policies of government that have failed, that I think are here to bring about a resurrection of God's power, not government's power, because we've been waiting We've been waiting. We've been waiting. And the question was asked, how long? Too long. And that's right. Because even as we are here today, and I thank the mayor's representative, my good friend Clarice, for being here, while we even have today only 22 checks cut for the road home, government's response to enabling families to rebuild, while the federal government authorized $8 billion for homeowners, they are locked in the state treasury, earning millions of dollars every day with only 22 checks, Bishop, having been cut to your constituents. So there is no road home, it's a road out. But we need you to help us empower our families to go home. And Joe has shared, and the video articulated a lot of the great devastation and a lot of the tragedy that has occurred. But may I remind you that this was indeed the third strongest hurricane to hit United States landfall, that it caused the greatest evacuation and mass migration in history since the Civil War. So I'm here in Atlanta for a reason, because this city burned just like New Orleans got wet. But it is rebuilt, and it is now a modern city of capacity and commerce and of hope, helping New Orleans. There is so much that we could say, but I'm going to share with you what a great man of God spoke about when he spoke about the prophetic voice. And A.W. Tozer spoke to the fact that the prophet's voice must clearly articulate the issues of his time. And so thank you, Ambassador Young and Dr. For bringing the prophets together so that they might be the voices of reclaiming that which is uniquely the land of the city of New Orleans, that has been about the greatest land grab in these modern times, with agendas of green space and agendas of delays that now allow the land to be fertile for developers, where we heard, think twice before you try to remove your brother's landmark.